Right. I mean, I think people can taste a story to some degree too.
Yes.
You know,
Go on about that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, I think like, you know, I don't know. Let's see. I think like explaining to people what, you know, for me, making kind of classic styles. Right?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
making alt beer, which is something that I've made a lot. It's probably the most obscure style that I've made the most out of any beer.
And what is an alt beer?
An alt beer is a kind of hoppy, malty amber ale from one specific region in northern Germany, the town of Dusseldorf, basically. It's called Dusseldorf style alt beer. And alt beer means old beer. It's the old way that they used to make beer before they started making lagers in Germany, right? And I think without that context, people don't really understand or appreciate what it is. It just, they're like, oh, amber ale, and it's kind of hoppy.
Right.
And,
Sure.
you know, it doesn't really have a place. It doesn't really fit in with anything else that you would have. But when you give people that context and tell people the story of what it is, they can kind of understand it a little bit more. But I mean, the same goes for even explaining flavors to people. You know, like palates are subjective, but they're also influenced. So if you were to say that something tastes like something, people believe that. Or like even it just changes your perception of what things actually taste like. Whether or not your taste buds really taste that or not, your brain will tell them that, oh, it's supposed to taste like this. This is what I'm perceiving.
Yeah.
So even like the story, like you're saying of that the history of it, saying that this is the old style, this is what it used to be. Your mind already plays games there. It's like, oh, this is what beer used to taste like.
Exactly.
It's like you're tasting the past
Right.
in a creative way, I guess.
Right. Yeah. And if something is new or unique or, you know, affects their palate differently than they would expect it to be, having that context and that history can kind of explain to what that is and what it should be, and allows them to kind of really fully experience it in a different light, I guess.
Is there like a white whale beer that you want to try and brew?
Oh man, try to brew.
Well, that you haven't done or that you haven't like gotten right. Is there something that's elusive to you in the brewery world?
Something that I haven't ever made and I would like to make is probably the most obscure style of beer out there. It kind of completely goes against everything that you learn as a brewer.
Okay.
And that's called lambic. Goose lambic. It's a Belgian style of beer.
Oh, yeah. Is it really salty kind of?
Yeah, it has some salinity to
lambics?
it. Yeah.
Yep.
It's completely spontaneously fermented. So rather than pitching yeast, this is a style of beer.
Okay.
This would be something to be done on old water potentially
sure.
too. It's a very, very traditional old style of making beer. They can only brew it during certain times of year in certain regions. It has to be in the Seine Valley of Belgium, brewed between usually they brew it in fall. They brew a little bit in spring, you know, even through the winter season sometimes when they have the right temperature. It uses really old hops, the oldest hops you can possibly use. Okay. They put them into big burlap sacks, throw them in the top of a barn to get them warm, and then they will put it into what's called a cool ship. Okay. So rather than pitching yeast and cooling it down quickly like we would do now, they put it into this big shallow, you know, maybe 6 to 8 inches deep copper tub usually, and then open all of the windows, open up vents in the ceiling so that natural yeast and bacteria can inoculate that beer. And then they throw it into oak barrels, let it sit for up to 3 years, and then it goes through a very strategic and lengthy blending process to make the finished product.
So how can you maintain that though? Like,
you need volume and you need years. You need vintages. You can't do it.
It's like what a lot of people do with wine.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, it is. It's way more akin to wine than it is to
Wow.
beer, but it's still technically beer. But yeah, I mean, if you were to start a lambic brewery, you would need 3 years at least to be able to make a goose, which is a blended, usually 1, 2, and 3 years old lambics blended together. And that's,
Dude, that'd be
it's kind of
really
like
neat.
champagne.
I mean, you'd
it's
age
funky
in between this thing.
Oh, absolutely. And it gets passed down generation to generation. All those breweries are, you know, Cantillon has been handed down 4 or 5 generations. Dre Fontainen was one that just got handed down to not his direct like predecessor, but whatever, but to one of their employees to take it. Succeeder, yes, yep. So they handed it down to one of their employees to take on. But you need to be able to do that because you have this huge backstock of beer. and you need that to be able to actually make it happen. So
That's really
So you
neat.
you basically have to make beer to make beer.
yeah,
It's like the
pretty much.
sourdough of beers.
It is.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
truly
yeah,
is.
You know,
yeah.
like how you keep a sourdough yeast going,
Yes,
and
yeah.
it becomes this what do they call that? Heirloom.
It's the mother.
An heirloom thing. Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be the mother beer.
Yeah.
Is that style like is that more fragile of a beer because of that?
No, it's hardy. It can
Oh,
hold
really?
up. It can hold up to time. I mean, like people crack 50-year-old bottles of lambic and goose.
Really?
and
And
they're
they still good?
Yep, yep.
Wow.
A lot of it has to do with the pH.
Yeah.
Even though the hops are old, they use a lot of them, so you
Yeah,
lose a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of the flavor and the bitterness, but they still retain their antimicrobial
I
properties.
suppose that's why you'd use a lot.
Yes,
is because of the
exactly.
time.
Yeah, because you're
Is it-
inoculating spontaneously. You
Yeah.
kind of have to keep bad bacteria
Yeah,
at bay,
for sure.
and bad yeast at bay, enterobacteria, all that stuff.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
Yep. Yeah, it's fascinating, but that's definitely the most elusive beer
Well,
I've ever made.
what's the most? Oh, that's so interesting. Well, then this has to be so. One thing about this this concept of this show, and I'm gonna wait for the guy I knew Ben was gonna do. I saw you like look at me to shift the camera. That's okay. Everything's great. Oh, okay.
And cut.
But no. One
and
thing.
go.
Speaking of that, was one thing I really like the idea of with this old water concept. If we do episodic things, is also like the side quest,
Right.
which we can explore in these goofy debriefing podcasts or whatever. But the side quest, that could be the great that's the white buffalo of Neil's journey. But also, we need to get you in a sewer.
Oh yeah.
And-
This is what I'm pulling for with this. Really, old water to me is a whole lot of sewers.
We
All
have
right?
to get him in the sewer, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we can have some kind of ongoing, like that could be a great imagine if this got to 2 seasons and we finally get you in a sewer.
Oh yeah. I can't.
Hell
wait.
yeah, dude.
I want to see where the water comes from. I want to see where the water is used, and I want to see where it goes.